Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another episode in the MJ Hierarchy Project. And I can't tell you how excited I am today. I've got a special guest on the channel, another Jordan super collector who's got an absolute wealth of knowledge that's been doing this for 30 years in the Jordan market. It's Andy Albert with Indy B-Ball Exchange. He's a local card shop owner. He's a Jordan collector. He is a dealer. He checks all of the boxes. He's one of the people in the hobby that I have the most in common with, and I'm really happy to have him on the channel today. He's going to share a look at his collection. We're going to talk in great detail about how he collects Jordan stuff and talk about a lot of the intricate details of being a Jordan 90s insert and parallel collector. Hope you guys enjoy the show. PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code CAJUN, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard. I've got Andy Albert with Indy B-Ball Card Exchange here. Andy, welcome to the channel. Happy to have you, a privilege to have you, an honor to have you. I love bringing on people who know more than me about Jordan stuff because I'm just the middleman and you guys have all the knowledge. I'm going to extract as much from you as I can, your thoughts, your opinions, and we're going to have a good time today.
Thanks for having me, Brian. This is going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this for about a month now since we talked. Yeah.
Listen, we got
talk at the National.
We got a good, clean, easy one-for-one trade done at the National, Andy. That was quick and efficient, and I was like, oh, this guy thinks like me. Let's cut to the chase, get to the finish line. And we did a one-for-one that both of us wanted. You got a card you wanted, and you got me a card I wanted, and yours was a duplicate, so it was a win-win, man, and I love trades like that.
That's the beauty of being a collector first, because you and I both knew what we needed or wanted for our collections, and we didn't have to haggle over a couple $100 here and a couple $100 there. It was worth making that trade, and I appreciate it, man. It's already tucked away safely in the PC, and it's one of the nicest Jordan autos I've got in my collection. So I'm pumped.
It's a good-looking auto.
I'm not even an auto guy, but it's worth it to have that auto for sure.
Yeah. We got a 5-figure trade done in about a minute and 45 seconds. And we had just met each other about 2 minutes before that. So we're off to a flying start. And here you are on the channel. You're going to be famous now. We're going to make you famous. You're already famous. Right. Speaking of, you're already famous. Let me get screen share up here. I always bring people on. I want to kind of get to know. Obviously, I need to get to know you, but I want the world to know who you are. And it looks like most of the world already knows. You got 23,600 followers, for God's sakes, on Instagram. You run a local card shop in Indianapolis, but it's not your ordinary local card shop. Tell us a little bit more about it. This is Andy's Instagram page. It's B-Ball Card Exchange with no E, as you can see on your screen. Make sure you guys go give him a follow now. Get that over with. Get it out of the way. You've also got a fancy website. I mean, y'all, I knew you were important. I remember when I got back in the hobby way back when, I saw your name and I was like, God dang, this dude sells a lot of cards. You had a eBay rating, and it was like 7 years later before I actually got to meet you just a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. But kind of tell us, generally speaking, what your profession is, how you fit in the hobby. How would you describe yourself in the hobby?
That's a good question. I always tell people I think I'm the old man in the hobby, and I'm only 44 years old. That's the funny part. I still feel young, but this hobby's so young and so vibrant that, I feel more on the mentor side than I do the, just the standard business owner collector side. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, I've never, ever, ever had a problem with that. And I love being the educator, helping people with transparency, honesty, the way to handle the collectible side of the market and kind of merge it into the investment, the gambling, all that fun stuff that happens when it comes to buy, selling, and trading. But, I've had the shop for just almost 12 years now, and I bought it in 2012. Love cards, never stopped as a kid, went through high school, went through college, and found my local card shop as soon as I found my full-time job back in 2001 in Indianapolis. And this is it. This is the one I purchased. And couldn't thank the guy I bought it from enough, because it's a dream come true. And I get to collect Jordan cards, waste a lot of money on that. I shouldn't say waste. That's good. That was a bad word. But
you've done okay if you didn't have a break and you didn't take a break. You've done okay, Andy. Don't BS us. We know what prices have done for Jordan over the last 2 decades, man.
Well, and what's crazy, my college years were 97 to 2001. So figure that out. A lot of people don't do cards and everything during college, and those were the prime years, 97, 98, 99. And I was playing college soccer. So it was not easy, but I had fun still doing it. And there happened to be a local card shop about 10 minutes from my campus that I went to at Taylor University. So they kept me going. And then, you know what, just kept happening by 2001 once I moved down here and had some fun, kept going. 2003 Exquisite. Holy cow, that was fun to open. Man.
Oh my gosh.
So
well,
fun.
Listen, you just dropped the magic word, soccer. I'm a soccer dad. I've got
Nice.
one girl playing Division I soccer. I got another one that committed actually yesterday to play Division I soccer. So I've got soccer kids all throughout my very large family. So we won't kill the Michael Jordan hierarchy project with that, but you and I will definitely talk more about soccer if you play college soccer for sure. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to discuss about that.
I love it.
I'm jealous whenever I hear stories from guys like you, guys that are similarly situated, have similar and common interests to me. Like Josh Dawson's another example, a mutual friend of ours. I get so jealous of you guys that didn't take any time off and you actually purchased cards during the era that I'm striving so hard to collect now. I get so jealous, and I just wish I had a time machine and I could go back and I ask myself why. Money is the primary reason why, but then you get distracted and you go to college and there's girls and you get married and your family and all that stuff. But I always admire and am a little bit jealous of guys that don't take time off and they just kind of grinded through it. So it paid off in the long run, especially if you were buying the stuff that I think you were buying during those years. You're probably doing real well. What a cool deal to be able to buy your local card shop and make it your own and kind of take it to the next level. Tell us a little bit more about it. I know one of the unique things that's in your card shop that you're probably not going to find anywhere else in America is this Jordan bar that you told me about, that you showed me photos of, that there just happens to be a records collection card in. Can you show that? Can you move the camera?
Oh yeah, I'm right in front of it right now. But good to go back really quick on your comment. There is never a bad time to buy Jordan cards, ever. So I understand the jealousy, because trust me, I feel like I can pinch myself almost on a daily basis that, probably 50% of the cards I have in my Jordan PC are pre-boom cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but I'm still spending a lot of money. I bought one last night on the Premier auction for an upgrade too. So I'm not afraid to spend that money.
Hold on.
We both know that they're going to continue to appreciate. But yeah, the Jordan bar is, I call it's like my favorite thing ever when I walk in the shop. And I love seeing reactions from customers, not only consistent regular customers, but new customers. They'll just sit there and they're overwhelmed because there's 1,000 Jordan cards on this thing. And I'm sitting at it right now. This is one side that faces out to the front door, and it kind of winds around. It's 16 feet long by 5 feet deep. And it has exactly 1,000 cards on it. So, there's Matt down there moving some stuff around, but it's so cool, man. I love it. And there's the card that everybody always laughs about. That is the Jordan Records collection that I currently have a PSA 10 of, but it just so happened that my wife handed it to me at about 1 o'clock in the morning while we were gluing and slapping these cards down on the bar. And I didn't pay attention. I was tired. I just was like, all I asked her to do, literally, and this is kind of a fun story that not a lot of people know, but I said, honey, give me cards that allow the colors not to be all blended together. So give me a black, and then give me a red, then give me a white, and all that kind of stuff. So it was in a 3-row box. I wasn't paying attention. She handed me it. I sprayed it on the back with Gorilla Glue spray, slapped it down on the bar, made sure it was perfectly aligned, and the rest is history. So
we can't extract that and grade it, man. It's done. No. And it's a great conversation piece. It's a conversation piece within an amazing conversation piece. So I'm jealous of your bar. My brain is already spinning. But listen, here's the deal. You can't come on my channel, tell me you bought a card on last night's PWCC August Premier auction, and then not tell us what the card is. You got to talk to us about the card. You tried to slip that one past the goalie. It's not going to happen.
I did. I'm going to go back to the back now, since we just showed off the Jordan bar. I'll go back to the office, and then I'll show you the one that I upgraded, because I actually brought my other one that was a half a point less in the grade, because I'm going to trade or sell that one to try to get other Jordans. So it's the old 97 It's the 97 Planet Metal The Half Moon Michael Jordan is what
Yeah.
it is. So it's this guy right here.
Oh, yes.
Oop, there we go. Bad glare. Sorry, man. There we go. Everybody can hopefully see that. But that's the card. I had a Beckett 9.5, and I got lucky enough to snag it in a PSA 10 last night on the premier auction for $9,600, and I think that was a steal in my opinion too.
That's it right there. Yeah,
that's the card.
Yeah, hit 12. It's hit 12, and here's the deal: people are going to be like, "Well, Andy, you just paid the highest price of the last 5 sales." Okay, so what? You're not buying it to sell it in 2024. Right. You and I coined a phrase called Cajun eternity. You're welcome to steal it. It's not eternity, but we don't know when it is. It's definitely not in the near future. So that's kind of how I approach Jordan collecting. And it sounds like you're kind of the same way. There is no exit strategy. Like, I don't have an exit strategy. I'm just buying cards because I know traditionally they're going to hit up and to the right. You know, the certain cards that we're collecting, the 90 stuff, the parallels, the inserts, especially the high grade stuff. It's very rare, Andy, and I'm not an economist and I'm not a financial advisor, but it's very rare in this world where the assets that are the least risky also yield the highest rewards. It's very rare. Sure. Usually it's high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. But I feel differently with Jordans. I feel like it just kind of doesn't fit in that box.
Yeah, totally agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the Jordans are, I liken them to, if we look at the stock market, it's like your Apple and your 401k type stuff. I mean, like I always say, like, it has stability. There'll be a little bit of variance to it, but it has stability and long-term growth that you will always see kind of the up arrow. I mean, I really feel that way. Yeah. And I felt that way before buying cards as a quote unquote investment was cool, you know, and
for sure.
Why not have that stability? Because I have Jordans, I have Kobe's, and I also have a ton of vintage. So those are the three things that I always encourage people. Like, those are, if I got to preach it with my actions, right? So my words have to match my actions, and I'm going to continue to preach that kind of stuff because I've been doing it for 20 plus years, and I'll continue to do it as a buyer and as somebody who sees an opportunity for my kids long-term down the road.
And look, here's the deal. We see the word content creator and the word influencer thrown around, and content creator, everybody's fine with. The word influencer, people have a problem with, and it's almost got a negative connotation. And the reason is people aren't putting their money where their mouth is. People are telling you to go do something, but they're not doing that something themselves. And that's why I've tried to always be different, and I'm pretty transparent. I show everybody every single card I buy, and I show people almost every single card I sell. I think that's the way it should be. If you're going to give people advice on what to buy, and you're not putting money in that segment of the hobby or that sector, then shame on you. You're probably not doing it the right way. That's just my perspective. Kobe, Jordan, and vintage, man. That's blue risk. That sounds like the father of 4 children, a married guy with 4 kids, you know, making good decisions financially, but also getting to feed his passion, you know, and buy the types of stuff that you're passionate about. And the reason that we're here today on the channel is to talk about Jordan. You do things a little bit, I don't want to say it's unusual because I've seen other people do this, but you love to pair Jordans and Kobe's together. And they overlap during that amazing era. I know Kobe was 96, so you don't get the pre-96 stuff to overlap. But, man, 96 through 99, there's a bevy. There's a big buffet of insert sets that feature both of the big two. So show us some of your stuff, man. I mean, we're excited. That's what the MJ Hierarchy Project's about, is I want to learn from you guys and pull all the knowledge out of your head and see some of the great stuff that you got. So share it with us, man. Talk us through some of your stuff.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm going to start at the tier 1, and I only have 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at it right now. 4, 5. I think I only have 6 on the tier 1 level right now in my PC. And the main reason is because I'm an insert collector first, and then I'll go chase parallels, you know, down the road. But we all know how expensive the parallels are because I got to see your beautiful red PMG at the National. But, you know, I'm not a PMG fan. I never have been because I know I'm contrary to the popular opinion, but I'm not a believer that the price should be that high. I just don't believe it. But we're looking at rarity. I get it. Like, you think of, like, my number 1 on tier 1 would be that gold titanium fusion Michael Jordan, that number to 40. That is the rarest, most amazing basketball card of Michael Jordan that should get the love that it doesn't deserve, or should get more love than it deserves, even though you have it on the top tier of tier 1. I mean, it should go ahead of, it should probably be green PMG, just because I know how rare and how crazy that thing is, and then titanium metal fusion. I really feel that way.
It's different. It's different for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a special card. It's funny that we're like picking cards on tier 1 that are underrated, right? It's kind of
I know, it's crazy,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've got the Playmakers Theater. I've got that in the BGS 9. It's funny because I don't have it physically here. I decided to take a gamble and send it to PSA to see if I could cross it from a BGS 9 to a PSA 9. Yeah. I'm shifting more towards PSA for the stuff that I have, but only because it's much more fluid and liquid for my kids whenever I have to pass away and hand all this stuff down to them, because it's not going anywhere, right? But I love that Playmakers Theater. It's such a cool card. It's one of my top 5 favorites as far as aesthetics. I love the eye appeal of cards, and aesthetics to me are everything. I've got a few of the Fleer rookies, which we all kind of do as Jordan collectors. I've got the Gold Stars, Ultra Stars. I've got that in a BGS 9 as well. Mm-hmm. And then there's the big dog that I am a firm believer is the Star 101. The Star 101 to me, Brian, should be near the very top, because we got to think about not only were there only about 3,000 total copies of the 85 Star team bag sets made, between Beckett and PSA, there's only like 1,100 total graded cards of that card. Yeah. That's insane, right? We have 2 PSA 9s currently on the Pop Report. One of them I got to see at the National last month. That was my friend Dave. Dave's I don't know if you know him. He is High Speed Card Chase on Instagram, and I love that guy.
Stuff. Filthy, yes, filthy stuff, yes.
He had that card in a PSA 8.5, and I said, Dave, this thing is the most clean eye appeal that I've ever seen in person. I said, give it a shot. Go take it back to PSA, see what they say. He comes back about 8 hours later with the biggest smile on his face, and they had crossed it to a PSA 9. And he just was like,
what, $100,000 richer? You know?
No. 300 grand richer.
300 grand richer. A half grade on that card. That's how much it means. Yeah.
Yeah. A PSA 8.5 is probably around 125,000. And a PSA 9, the last sale was 400 grand, but I truly think that card would eclipse $500,000 now.
I think we're waiting, right? We're waiting for it to settle, because there's people doing what your friend just did, not crossing necessarily PSA to PSA, but are trying to upgrade. People crossing BGS, or finally like PSA loyalists who have always kept them in team bags that are now grading with PSA, because they just opened that up. What are we, maybe 15 months ago, 14 months ago?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So we just need to see where that Pop Report settles. The one thing that does worry me about that Star 101 is it's going to be misleading, the Pop Report, specifically the Beckett Pop Report, because I don't think they're not removing the BG. You know what I mean? So it's going to look like there's more than there are. But I think a lot of the savvy people that are buying expensive cards like that know that already. Yeah. It would really be a trap for the unwary, the new people to the hobby that might be looking to get into it. But would you agree that a lot of those are going to be cracking resubs? I mean, that's going to be more than any other card, probably. The 86 Fleer in the Star 101, those Pop Reports are just jacked up, especially from, hell, this. If you didn't take a break, then there used to be a time where the BGS 9.5, people were cracking PSA 10s to try to get BGS 9.5s. That's mind-blowing now, right? Anybody who can do math would never do that. But there was a time where it was different, and then they crossed, and then PSA never looked back. And so I think both Pop Reports could be a little bit misleading.
I 100% agree. I was having a conversation with one of my employees yesterday because he wants to get into some of the stars, and I had a star, the USA Olympic 195, and a BGS 6.5, and he was just trying to do some research on it. And I said, Matt, don't take the 101 numbers for the literal meaning, because there's probably around a 20 to 30% variance of cards that are the same exact card that didn't get pulled from the Pop Reports, like you just said. So I think that 1,100 or 1,200 that's on PSA and Beckett's Pop Report is probably more like 800 or 900.
I agree. I think that's the number. And I think the percentage is going to become greater, because we're still seeing people convert to PSA, finally taking the plunge and moving them over.
Now the key is to be crazy like me and believe that that's his true rookie card, because I know it's about 50-50 debate. It's like Republican Democrat. Clear or star?
It's not crazy. It's literally 50-50. Like, you literally, if you were just plucking people at random out of the hobby who have been doing this for a while, you're going to find 50-50. Where are you on? Let me just throw another 50-50 out there. Coding or no coding? If you've got a raw finest Jordan refractor in your hand? Coating or no coating?
Okay, so I'm going to stick with my guns, and I said it earlier on this podcast. I'm an eye appeal guy. I peel that thing so that it looks so good. I want it to be peeled. I want it to look as best as it possibly can inside that graded holder. I had 2 round ball royalty refractors, which I love that card because of the black jersey, and peeled them both and got 10s on both of them in the last few years.
That.
So I do have a few that I've purchased that still don't have the coating on it, but they're already PSA 10, so I just didn't mess with them. One was like the 94, 95 finest refractor Jordan. I've got that with coating in a PSA 10. The holding court refractor, how that card is so difficult in a 10, and I've got that with peel in a PSA 10.
Here's the deal. You and I are exactly aligned. If I bought a refractor and it's raw, refractors are supposed to refract. Read the words on the damn coating. Peel here, whatever. But if I have a PSA 10 with a coating, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to crack that, peel it, and then resubmit it. I'm sure as hell not going to do that. So you and I our interests are perfectly aligned. We need to team up and take over the world and teach them the way that it's supposed to be. All right, so finish us out on tier 1.
That's what we're doing right now. We're just teaching the world, right?
We're teaching the world, man. Well, you're teaching the world. I'm along for the ride. Playmakers Theater, 86 Fleer, Star 101.
Let's see. Let me show you a couple cards that are in my PC. Here's one that's at the bottom of tier 1. I love the eye appeal of this card. It's the Legacy Collection Row 1 Jordan. Man, I'm sorry for the lighting. I wish I had better lighting in here. This stinks, but
it's too good. The lighting is too good. It's got glare.
Yeah, I know, right? But that is the Legacy Collection Jordan Beckett 8.5. Picked that one up not too long ago, but you can see the numbering on the back.
Yep.
Just love that card. The shine on that, it's like this, like a shimmer refractor, if you will, in today's terms.
Yeah, it would be like one of those shimmers. You're right. From
number 82 of 100. Love that card. So that's one of my tier 1 PC cards. Here's my Ultra Stars Gold that I've gotten a BGS 9. And PSA 9, I think, just went last night for close to 30 grand, if I'm not mistaken.
29 too, if I recall, from an hour ago. Yes. Yeah.
And the BGS 9, this one's got 295 subs, a 9, and an 8.5. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Is that a card you'd consider running up the flagpole to move over?
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't even thought about this one. I'm trying to do some of the – I just sent in a few of my 9.5s. I sent in – so the Flair Showcase Hot Shots is my all-time favorite insert. I love that card. And a PSA 10 went off last night, and I think it was like 27 or something like that is what it sold for. But my 9.5 that I have has 210 subgrades, and it should be a PSA 10, but we all know PSA is being a little stingy on the crossover side of things right now. I'm going to try to get it crossed over. It's at PSA as we speak, and hopefully, knock on wood, it becomes a PSA 10. But that card's my all-time favorite. That's in tier 2, correct?
Yeah. You got to keep us posted on that one, Andy, because that's a huge cross right there. It's got three 10s and a 9.5.
No, two 10s.
It's got 2 10s and a 9.5.
2 10s, a 9.5, and a 9 on surface, which I've studied that thing under magnifier. Who knows? There could be something wrong, but we'll see what PSA says. But that's probably my 2 tier 1s that I brought with me to show off.
Where are you on the Platinum Medallions versus Legacy Collection? Do you side with me that the Legacy gets a slight edge? And that was the tough decision because it was a group of each. And, it was an all or nothing deal from my perspective. And I went with Legacy and then Platinum just below it in the, the very upper portion of tier 2.
I 100% agree. And here's why. Flair Showcase in 94 when it came out all the way to the late 90s. Flair Showcase was the high-end product.
Okay.
And if you're going to do high-end, the high-end parallels and inserts should get a little bit more priority over your Flair Ultra, which Flair Ultra was more of a mid-end, almost low-end type product.
Low-end,
yeah. So I like that you tiered all the Showcase Legacies into tier 1 because to me that's the best way to go. Now, Metal Universe wasn't a high-end product in the day, but again, PMGs are what they are. I'm not going to argue. I don't want to start a debate on that stuff, but EX Credentials are another example where that was a high-end product. You put EX and Flair Showcase probably near the very top of that hierarchy back in the 90s when it came to how much they cost and the rarity and the value you got out of those boxes. It was those were definitely the two that I would put as the high-end products back in the late 90s for sure.
Andy, it's funny. If I consider you an expert in the hobby. If we polled 50 experts just like the coating, just like the true rookie card, they would be split. There are experts out there, mutual friends of ours, who preach from the mountaintops that cards like the StarQuest Gold should be more valuable because they came from trash packs, cheap ass product. So they'll say exactly the opposite of what you and I think. I would obviously, all things considered, just like in baseball, tie goes to the runner. I think tie goes to the higher end product because it would be more expensive and require more of a financial investment just to try to pull the card. But other people think it's the other way around, like stuff that comes from Hoops Starting 5, StarQuest Gold, little, chintzy little cheap packs like that. They think those should be more special. It's really funny how the hobby's split on that as well.
I mean, I agree with you on that part of the split, but like if you're comparing apples and apples, we're talking 90s high end versus mid to low end. If you parallel that with the modern day cards, then you're telling me that like a Flawless and a National Treasures auto to 25 should be compared to a Prestige auto to 25.
Chronicle 1 of 1.
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm kind of like in the same boat as you are. Yeah.
But guess what? There's a lot of things in the hobby that don't make sense. Logic has not permeated this segment, this hobby for sure. There's a lot of stuff that does not make sense, and that's why it's easy to talk yourself into, well, if this sells for this, then this is a good buy for me at this, right? We do that all the time. Right. We were probably doing it last night. I want a card on the Premier. You want a card on the Premier. So we were both probably talking ourselves into why we could stretch it a little bit more to do this.
Exactly.
Nature of the collector, nature of the investor.
If you had to split your hobby,
100%. Okay, so you got 100% to work with. Collector, investor / dealer. Tell me how you break that down. Are you 80% collector? Like I always try to kind of apportion, am I a collector? Am I an investor? I'm definitely a little bit of both, and I harbor no ill feelings towards either. But there are people out there that, consider themselves true collectors that sort of frown upon or speak negatively about investors. How would you kind of split yourself if there was 100% pie between collector and investor?
Well, I mean, if we're just talking Jordans, I would say I'm collector first. And anytime I don't have that card, I either upgrade it or add it to the PC. If I do have the card, I flip it because I can't keep duplicates of that. We know how expensive this portion of the hobby is, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to sell the Jordans that I have either duplicates of, like the metal hardware. It's a good example. We talked about that via text earlier. I have 2 of those in PSA 10s. And I'm willing to trade one or sell one in order to buy other Jordans that I want to upgrade on. So I would say I'm 100% collector of Jordan inserts on the highest grade I can possibly attain, right? Yeah. Everything else, I mean, I'm a business owner for a card shop, so I have to be a flipper, investor, dealer, probably 80% of the time, and let my PC of Jordans, Kobe's, and vintage kind of just pile up when I can afford to keep buying those type of cards and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like that. And here's the thing, you dodged a bullet because even the true collectors, if they had heard you say, I've got 7 copies of the championship hardware, they would probably get pissed off because now you're a hoarder. So not only are you an investor, but you're also a hoarder. You've got 7 copies, right? And that is very much frowned upon by a lot of the Jordan collectors because we believe if you've got duplicate copies, you should release it into the wild. So you've just made a lot of collectors happy with that comment.
The only card that I'm a hoarder of, and I will fully admit, is the Star 101. I will continue to collect those until I can not afford it anymore. I have 8 of them right now. I have 2 PSA copies and 6 BGS copies right now.
Do you have a BGS 8.5?
Yes.
All right, we got to talk. How many? Come on, man. You got to help me out. I'm trying to collect the set. I got 22 out of 25.
Wow, that's impressive. Listen, if we can talk trades like we did with our nice little trade at the National, maybe we'll figure something out. So it's on record now. So I am my license plate on the back of my car says STR 101, just so you know. That's how obsessed I am. Yeah.
And look, and we can get along because you know what I think the true rookie card is. So, and you and I can still seem to get along somehow. So the hobby's great, bringing people together. No, we're going to talk about that. Well, I missed my shot because I had my Kobe PMG Red last night that sold on the Premier. That would have been a great bargaining chip with you for the 8.5, unless you already have it.
No, I don't. I don't have any PMGs at all. None.
I blew it. I could have tried to trade the Kobe for it. We'll figure it out. We're going to figure something out. I'll keep bothering you until you give in.
No worries, man.
Let's talk a little bit more about the hierarchy, okay? So any cards in tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 that you think should have been one higher, one lower, anything like that? Start with tier 1. I got to pull it up on screen share, Andy.
Okay.
Anything on here that just clearly doesn't belong, like that you would look at it and say, and you're not going to hurt my feelings, like, no, it's okay, hey, man, I just don't think this belongs.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Team Skybox PMG. I think that should be probably in a tier 2 because it's not even the base card. You know what I mean?
The rubies, you mean, right here?
Yeah, the rubies. Yeah. It's a parallel, an insert parallel that, those just don't get the tier 1 love, in my opinion, that they should get. I honestly, everything else, Brian, I mean, again, our little argument about StarQuest Gold, I know how rare that card is. I know the people that are arguing that that's a card that should be even higher. But, gosh, I never touched Collector's Choice as a kid. I mean, I thought that was like, I'm like, oh, I got to buy Collector's Choice today. This sucks.
Again, I mean, I'm with you, man. I don't have it.
The only 2 cards. The starting 5 is numbered to 5. Keep it on there. It's the rarest parallel card of a Jordan that exists, right? So rarest. Other than platinum, other than the Masterpiece 101s from Ultra, but we all know where those are at. They're in Grant Slayton's collection, so that's all good. Those are the only 2. I mean, if I could take 2 of those and move 2 into tier 1, I would probably say, I'm a huge fan of the Thunder and Lightning in a PSA 10, but I know that a non-PSA 10 doesn't go for a ton of money. It goes for what, 8 to 10 grand probably in tier 2. I think the high voltage 500 volt is another one that's just so beautiful in person. Like people, when they see it, it's almost like a jaw dropper as well. But if I had to take one, I would put the classic 61 Jordan because it looks like a 61 Fleer. And make that
one of them, just the left, just the base,
so the base card left side, number to 61. I'd move that up and I'd replace that with the Team Skybox rubies, in my opinion.
Okay, you distinguish and serial number to 50 versus serial number to 61. That's what and what. That's not a big deal, but you definitely distinguish between the purple and the green. I think a lot of people that I've had on the channel, I'm not familiar really with these cards, but a lot of people who have commented on those that seek those cards and or own those cards prioritize the purple over the green. And you brought something up with the Team Skybox rubies, and let's go back to it real quick because this is we're diving into the minutia of collecting Jordan cards and 90s cards generally speaking. You make a distinction between a parallel of a base card and a parallel of an insert card. Really, it's not an insert card, it's a subset card. So I think it's a parallel of a subset card, right, within the base set, but it's clearly a Team Skybox is a subset card. You make a distinction between those two. Tell me about that. Just explain that. Just explain your perspective on that.
I just didn't think that from a collectability perspective, they never had the love that they, ever deserved, in my opinion. I don't think they really even deserve it anymore because the base card, if you're like, we go back to the collecting side. You want that base set, first of all. That's first and foremost priority is building that base set. The subset cards, the parallel cards, I mean, you go back from day one, Upper Deck was notorious for that. They had like 12 different Michael Jordans in the quote-unquote base set, right? The team MVP, the scoring leaders, and yada, yada, yada. Same with Fleer Ultra. They need to be a notch down when it comes to the priority level, in my opinion. And this is one of those cards that it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I would love to own the card. I don't, but I wouldn't prioritize that if I'm chasing 5 other high-end Jordans and spending that kind of money.
It would be the clear-cut third of the 3 rubies that you're looking at.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, no doubt.
So here's the thing. I'm going to take you into your world because you've got to know this world. Ultra-modern basketball. It's the same can be said, for instance, let's say a 2018 luck of the lottery gold Doncic is not going to hold a candle to the 2018, Doncic base parallel rookie card. It's just not even going to be in the same stratosphere. And so you're just kind of taking that backwards, 30 years and applying the same principle to the 90s. I get it. I'm kind of with you on that. But again,
let's talk about Baby Goat real quick. A LeBron card, and let's go to a 2018 LeBron base gold and a LeBron base gold, or a LeBron My House gold. That My House insert's really cool. It's a subset of the set, right? I would not want the My House gold. I want the base gold if I'm truly going to spend that kind of money on that card. So it proves time and time again that the base card short print parallel of those star players should get priority. And
Yeah.
that classic 61, I have a Beckett 8.5 of that card that I snagged from Eric Miller. And it was during COVID, so I paid strong on it. But man, I was like, I'm not going to see this card probably for a long time. So I had to grab it. Yeah.
Did yours have a refractor line in it? I know those are real prevalent on that card.
No, it didn't. It's got a clean front and a very clean back of that card. I was really excited about that. Good subgrades. I had an 8 or an 8.5 corner, and that's what dinged it to be a Beckett 8.5 overall.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, tier two got me excited because tier 2, I counted up. I think you have 2 different tier 2 pages. Is that right?
54 cards, Andy. Yeah. 54 cards. Yep.
Okay. 54 cards. I did a count, and I think it was 45 of the 54 cards in my PC, which I thought was pretty fun. Yeah, I was excited about that. I mean, the ones that I don't have the original platinum medallion Jordan from 96, 97. Yep. I don't have the SP Authentic Profiles hand numbered to 100. I don't have the Thunder Super Rave. I don't have the Z-Force Super Rave. I have the C-Force Rave. High Dimensions I don't have, but looking at the first page, I think I've got everything else in the PC.
Well, here's the other thing. You've left out the most impressive part. You've got a little bit of the grade snobbery in you as well. So you're not talking about, some slabbed authentic. I've seen your shit. You've got PSA and BGS 9.5s, which reminds me, I wanted to ask you, you're talking about converting some of the BGS over to PSA for various reasons. Do you mess with the set registry at all for your Jordan collection?
No, I don't. I just officially logged everything in my Card Ladder account for my collection. So I have it all logged, all cataloged. And Card Ladder, shout out to them because they made my life easy to be able to just scan pictures and be able to update all the information. So I was pretty pumped about that. But no, I don't do the set registry stuff because it's such a moving part, man. Like you upgrade half a point, it just takes too much time, and that's time that we don't have right now. Let's collect. Let's not brag on the set registry.
Amen. I'm with you. If I was starting my Jordan collection today, I would look at the set registry, but 1,500 or 2,000 slab Jordan cards in, I can't go back and retrofit that. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not willing to devote that type of time, nor do I have that type of time. The other problem is a lot of us, and you included, because you've shown a couple of freaking whales in BGS slabs. We got BGS slab cards, and we have no problem with that. I trust BGS. I like BGS. I mean, would I prefer to pick it up in a PSA 10 slab? Probably. But if the price is right, BGS Min Gem is my favorite grade to buy. I feel like the premium between a Min Gem BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10 on a tier 1 or a tier 2 card is disproportionate. It seems to be growing, so I might be just completely clueless, but that ratio of Min Gem 9.5 to PSA 10 is lunacy in some cases.
It is. And like you said earlier, we were paying more for those Min Gem 9.5s than we were PSA 10 less than 10 years ago, less than 8 years ago. It's insane. But no, I love it. I brought some of my PC too to show off. But
show us some more awesome stuff, man. Let's do some show and tell.
I did bring this one because this is one of my faves, but I've got the PSA 10 Thunder Lightning, which everybody I think has seen. I've showed it off at a couple different podcasts and Instagram posts, but I'm obsessed with this card. The shininess of it, the back of it, everything is just so awesome. And it's I think it's a Pop 16. Is that correct?
I was gonna say the most awesome thing about it is the pop. But yeah. Have you seen if it glows in the dark? Have you done it yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
You just have to be in like your closet with the lights off. Make sure it's been exposed to light for a little while, and it'll shine on those lightning bolts. It's super cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I brought a few others because some of this stuff kind of blew me away last night. I know how the high-end investor collectors trying to get the rarest thing of a Jordan because you're just not going to see them very often. The people that are buying these right now are the ones that don't have any intention of really reselling for any near-term future. So I think the high grade, low pop Jordans, especially PSA 10s that are under 20 will dry up because we're just going to be able to see collectors wanting to tuck those away. They're investors. I should say they're probably investors too, because they know how rare they are, and they're putting that money in a safe bet. And the safe bet is low pop Jordans. So
here's the deal. I think you nailed it, and I agree 1,000,000%. And it's a double-edged sword, Andy. And the reason I say that is because for the last 2 years, well, I say from 2019 to 2020, late 2021, we saw cards rise so much that even people like us who are unwilling to part with our babies, some people just caved in and said, look, this is up 4,000%. I'm selling the card. I don't care. And so we've seen pop 25 Jordan inserts from the 90s sell 9 times in the last, from 2019 to 2022. That is unsustainable, inorganic, and unlikely to continue, in my opinion. So I think you're right. I think we're going to see that dry up as those cards find their way into long-term collectors' collections. I think we're going to see that dry up, and we know what that means. That means demand maintains and or grows from videos like this, from talking to people like you, from talking to knowledgeable Jordan collectors like you and some of the other guys I've had on the channel. Demand will continue to rise. Supply will, while the number of cards that exist doesn't change, the true supply doesn't change, the supply of cards available in the wild at auctions will dry up. That will absolutely happen. We're not going to see 4 Jordan PMG Reds sell in a given year again, ever, and maybe, in my opinion. I don't think we'll ever see that. I think those days are over. I think it was a blip on the radar. It was a 24-month period of chaos and insanity and a perfect storm of crazy things that happened. And I don't think we'll ever see that again. And I think it's going to bode really well for the high-end Jordan market long-term.
Yeah, I get it. Money talks. I totally understand that part of it. I'm as a business owner. And, some people are using this money that they're making like 10 times what they invested into it. They're putting it into things like houses. They're putting it into things like, other investments that we know are safe investments that are going to improve the status of their family, right? That's more important than the cardboard that we're collecting right now. But no, I'm a big believer that, you just got to do what's best for you and your family. So I never judge anyone or demean anyone for selling a card because, they said it was a collection and now it's an investment. I don't care about that stuff.
I don't either.
Here's one that I think would be fun to look at. So this is our OG platinum portraits, Brian. And we all saw what the second-year platinum portraits sold for last night. And if you remember, second-year platinum portraits was a pop 17 for PSA 10. Guess what this one is? Pop 17.
13.
It's exactly the same pop report as the 97-98 platinum portraits. And to find this in a 10 is almost even more impossible right now, in my opinion. So it blows me away. Like stuff like this, there's a popularity thing that goes with Jordan inserts too. And that second platinum portraits is a popular card. I get it. I love it. I have it in a BGS 9. You I think, is that the one we traded for? Or no, you got the titanium fusion. That's what you got.
250 fusion. Yeah. I have it in 9.5. I have the platinum portrait. And I think I have that one in a 10. I think I have one of the other 10s of that card. I love that card. And I don't think a lot of people before we did this hierarchy project knew there was another platinum portraits. I'm serious.
The original platinum
portraits. The disparity is crazy between those two cards.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I say, it's the OG of a platinum portrait because it was it just kind of got overlooked because it was Series 2 96-97 metal is what it was. And everybody wanted Kobe stuff in there, but little did they know there was a high-end Jordan that could be pulled. And pack pulled even had edge issues. Like the back of that card had so many edge issues, so that's why it was very difficult to obtain a 10. I got this one in the 10, which is a big card too. Rave
card.
Review.
Huge card.
I grabbed a few, like this is a pop. I think it's 17 or 16 as well. Again, seeing those things pop up and sell. Will these sell like the platinum portrait sold for last night? Or is it because the platinum portrait gets the recognition it does and that's why it went for $90,000? I mean, like I'm so confused right now of why did that person buy it? I'd love to know who purchased it for 90 grand and why did they buy it for 90 grand? Like, do they think another one's not going to pop up? I mean, I'm just really curious on that one.
Listen, here's something that you don't know yet because it's your time is like 9:49 a.m. in the morning or 10:49 or whatever. I did the PWCC August 2023 premiere recap this morning. A lot of people don't know this yet, but you'll see it when you watch my video. That card sold in the premiere for $90,000. Did you know the same night somebody noticed that auction ran to 90 and they went onto the PWCC fixed marketplace and hit buy it now on another one for 75,000?
No way. No, I did
Yeah.
not know
So
that.
if you look at Card Ladder, look, here's the deal. So if you go to Card Ladder and you look at, let's go put in 1998. It's 98, right?
Yeah, it's 97, 98. So you might have to
Oh,
type
sorry,
in
97. My
97.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Watch this. You'll see on Card Ladder it says 82,500, and here's why. If you hit View All Sales, there's the 90, there's the 75 grand.
Oh my Lord, that's
So some savvy investor type went in there. Maybe it's a collector, I don't know, but they're like, "Holy crap! This just sold for 90. I can buy it for 75." Now look, it's still a risk because if we scroll down a little bit, the last one sold for 58.8 at the peak in 2021. So it's not like a giveaway at 75,000. You're still, making some financial educated decisions. But I thought that was interesting last night that somebody jumped on that.
Let's add another layer to that. What if it's the same person that's protecting their bet? I mean, that to
Well,
me seems like if I had that money, I would do the same thing. If I saw that on Fixed Marketplace and I knew I had to spend 90 on the auction one, I'm going and buying that other one for 75. So I'm protecting my card. You know,
yeah,
that's
we're
crazy.
seeing that a lot.
It wasn't.
Andy, I know,
it wasn't me.
no, it wasn't me either. It wasn't me either. I'm 9.5, and I'm very happy with it. I feel like I know 9.5 is not PSA 10, but damn, my 9.5 has to be worth more than it was two nights ago. But we're seeing, you just brought up a great point, and this is something that a lot of people who don't collect high-end 90s might not understand, is protecting the value of your card. You okay with that? Any issues with that from a moral perspective, ethical perspective? It's your money. Buy whatever you want. You can't tell someone how to spend their money or how to invest their money. I see that. I personally don't do that, and I don't get the vibe that you do because you're looking to add as many unique Jordans to your collection that you don't already have. And so whenever I am presented with the opportunity to buy a duplicate copy, in the back of my head, I'm looking at my tier 2 and I'm like, man, but I don't have the orange test refractor. I don't have the vintage 61. I'm not going to go buy another copy of one I already have when I could go buy one that I don't have yet. I don't ever support the value of my PSA 10s. Almost never. I mean, if I do, it's on a $150 card or something like that, but that doesn't really support anything.
Right. And that's a part of collector versus investor. Like, people will protect the value of their card if they're truly investing in the card. And that's what happened in a negative way with, like, people were buying those high-end RPA Zions back in 2020, not 2019, because they were protecting that card as much as they could, because there was 10 of them that had been out there and released on Golden and PWCC within a 6-month span, and they were going for 6 figures. And we all knew those were overhyped cards in the first place, right?
For sure.
But the same people were buying those cards and pumping the price to keep it where it should have been. And then as soon as that market dropped, it didn't just drop, it fell off a cliff. And to me, the protecting the money is protecting your investment is not smart when it comes to modern cards. I also don't do it on these cards because they're so rare that guys like us aren't getting rid of that stuff. So you don't really have to protect that card at all. But
let it sort itself out. I don't care. What is it going to be worth in 2035? That's what I care about. I don't care about 2024. I mean, give me the card, Everything you said about Zion, Andy, applies to the Trae Young market. We saw that in almost even a more devastating way. RPA last night for Trae Young, 9.5 sold for $9,000. Card sold for 70,000 plus, like 5 times less than 2 years ago.
Man, that's insane to me.
That's an insane number. Yeah.
There you go.
There it is, straight from the table. A little bit different. A little bit different.
I chiseled it off the Jordan bar and got a PSA 10. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But I contend that this is one of Jordan's rarest inserts that exists. And again, Upper Deck was not really the popular one when it came to inserts. They had a lot of good parallels and obviously MJ autos, but this one here being an Upper Deck card, I love it. Number one, and number two, I think it doesn't get the love it deserves either, personally.
Top 14. You got one. I got one. Josh has one. There's 3 of the 14.
We can always count on Josh Dawson having one. Each, right?
Well, you know what? I'm going to stop talking about Josh because everything that you're showing and everything that I talk about, he's already got it, right? We know
blows
this.
me away. I'd like to know if Josh has this one. This is one that I snagged. I'm the last person to buy this in a PSA 10. It's a Pop 10. Yeah. And it's the View with Thrill MJ. And it is extremely difficult to find in a 10. It's not a rare insert at all. You can go on eBay right now and buy this card for less than $50 raw.
Yep.
But a PSA 10 of this copy is insanity to find. And I bought it back in, I think, 2016. And somebody had put it on eBay for a buy it now of $495, and I could not buy it now fast enough.
Yeah.
Who knows what it's worth, because nobody wants to sell it if they have it and they're collecting it. But that View to a Thrill is such a beautiful card. And
I like the card.
Some people know me. I'm a Jordan black jersey insert fan first and foremost. Anything I can find in a refractor and insert in the black jersey, I love.
That's awesome. That's cool.
The
Yeah,
eye
that's
appeal
cool
of that stuff. I've got a signed black jersey UDA framed in my basement, which is kind of fun too. So, awesome. But yeah, I mean, I know we've got not unlimited time right now, but this is another big one that I've gotten a PSA 10 is the Road Zero. A 9.5 went off last night. I think it went for like just under $7,000, if I'm not mistaken. But this in a PSA 10.
But look, Josh, I mean, Andy, you got the Legacy. That's the Legacy number to 100.
No, this is not the Legacy. This is the 250 Row Zero, the base card. But this is just as rare as a Legacy is, because I think there's only 14 of these that exist. I'm pretty sure. In a PSA 10. But fun stuff. I have a debate for you on one card. I want to see what your thoughts are in this one.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
The East West Jordan Kobe. So I own a BGS 10.
Me too.
And
same exact color, same exact grade.
I also have a SGC Pristine Gold 10. If you had to pick one of those two from a rarity and value perspective, which one would you pick? Which one gets better hierarchy on that?
Well, if you're just asking me which one would sell for more, I don't know the answer to that question, but you can't cut out the demand side of it. And I think from 90s collectors, that BGS 10 is going to mean more to a 90s collector than an SGC 10, no matter how rare it is. That's me. Because I think, honest to God, and the 86 Fleer is a great example of this. Demand means more than supply. It's not 50-50. I think demand weighs more heavily than supply. And think about it. How many Brooke Lopez Black Prism 101s are out there? Nobody gives a damn about it. It's the rarest Brooke Lopez card in the world, but nobody wants it, so who cares? The argument against that is it only takes two. So it only takes two SGC-friendly people to want that card, which is probably the SGC is probably a pop 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah,
1 maybe. I don't know.
That's not a 1. I know there's another one that exists. So I'm guessing it's 2 or higher. Yeah.
It only takes 2 people. That's the issue. So you don't need throngs of people flocking to try to buy the SGC Pristine East West Refractor. You only need 2 people with deep pockets and FU money to go chase that thing, as we saw last night with the Platinum Portraits PSA 10.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I don't know. That's a good question, but I own the same card in the same grade, and I've got the other Jordan Kobe refractor from the Finest Mystery BGS 10 also. So that's my favorite pairing. I think I own 4 Kobe cards. 2 of them have Jordan on the front of it.
Wow, I love it. I have a Jordan in here that I thought. Now this is all. I'm just confirming. I think you have all 90s inserts and parallels in here, right? On your tiered hierarchy.
I stopped at 1999. That is correct. We do not get to 2000 and beyond because it would have been 8 billion cards. Because Exquisite opens up a whole new world. By the way, we talked a little bit about who you collect, how you collect, and I know you like collecting Jordan and Kobe and vintage stuff. Do you have you gravitated into? Have you permeated into that 2003 Exquisite? Do you collect the Exquisite stuff, Jordan?
I want one of each of the base Exquisite card, number to 225. So I just for memory's sake, because I opened so much of that stuff when I was working my real job, and I opened every single year, multiple cases of each year of Exquisite. And I currently need the 0304 and the 0405 base, and I'll be able to have the entire run from 03 to 09 of just the base Jordan graded an 8 or higher. And again, it's not monetary; it's strictly sentimental. That's
set collector, right? You've got the set collector gene that I have as well. Are those serial number to 100?
225, and then 1 year it was to 175, but most of them are numbered to 225.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But not cheap, because I've seen prices. Those are not cheap. Right.
I lost a bid on a 0405 the other night. It was an 0405 BGS 95, and I thought I was going to easily get it for $1,500. That was my max bid, and somebody outbid me, and it went for like 19 something at the very end. I'm like, come on, man, who's doing this to me right now?
I've lost more Jordan auctions in the last 3 months than I think I've lost in the 3 years leading up to this. There's bidding comps right now is not getting it done. Let's put it that way.
It's not at all. Where's this one at on your list? Oh, there it is. It's in tier 2. The Jordan 96 refractor. That's another card that gets overlooked. And this one's got perfect color. It hasn't faded, doesn't have the green hulking like a lot of these cards do. And I love the look of this one. I mean, he's going up and just probably posterizing Alonzo Mourning, which I think is pretty
your
fun
color's great on that one.
Isn't it great? Yeah, this one came out of the wild and hasn't really seen the light of day. And it was in a really old grade. Like this one I bought graded from this private collector about an hour north of Indianapolis. It's got a 0700 grade on it. But no, it's fun stuff. This is another one of my favorites is the Noise Boys because of the black jersey. You know, it's an interesting card and it's the die cut, see-through, all that fun stuff that comes along with it. People don't give Skybox Thunder a ton of love because it only existed for a couple of years, but that's one of Jordan's toughest inserts from that set. Oh shoot, what else? This one, I got to give a shout out to my buddy Garrett Payton from Louisville Sports Cards, GP Cards on Instagram. He and I bought this exact same card in the exact same grade at the 2021 National, and it's the SPX Promotion Jordan. Yeah, you've got that in your tier 2 as well.
Tier 2. A lot of people were like, "Why is that in tier 2?" And I was like, "Well, let Andy talk about it."
People don't realize how rare this card is. Like, I've collected Jordans, like really, really aggressively collected Jordans for 20 years, and this card I've probably seen 3 times in the wild, if you will. And 2 of the 3 were when Garrett and I both snagged them. We have a picture together holding up our BGS 9s SPX Promotion Jordan. Beautiful card. Beautiful
1 in 2,520 pack odds.
Love it.
And not a cheap pack. Not cheap packs either. It's on collector's choice. SPX was legit. SPX is awesome.
Yes, it was. No doubt. Awesome. So that probably goes up with the records collection, MJ, as some of the rarest 90s inserts from Upper Deck specifically. But so it's, I mean, I could talk about this for hours.
We could do it forever.
I've got the OGs, the 2 OGs, in my opinion, when it comes to making Jordan inserts popular are number 1, the Scoring Kings from 93 Ultra. We all know that. Number 2, the Hot Numbers from 95 Flair Showcase, because I think that Hot Numbers card really kind of took it to a whole different level. And you've got that in your tier 3. I'm a big fan of that card too.
It could be in tier 2. It could be in tier. It's not the rarest card around, but it can be in tier 2. Here's the deal. Remember, the criteria for this project wasn't, it was fourfold, and demand was a primary driving force. And so that's why you see the 86 Fleer in tier 1. That's why you see the Scoring Kings in tier 2, not rare cards. Especially in the case of the 86 Fleer. We know that's not a rare card. But any new, here's the way I look at it. If you are on a limited budget and you decided to start collecting basketball cards and you weren't going to go buy, Cade Cunningham or Scotty Barnes or Trae Young or whatever, and you were going to actually buy Jordan stuff, the first card that I think a person would ask about is a Michael Jordan rookie card. And then you, of course, get into the Star versus the Fleer. If you were going to start collecting in 90s inserts and you had never collected 90s inserts, just like me in 2019, I did not own one single insert, but I owned about 45 copies of the 86 Fleer. Okay. I started to liquidate that and I was like, I want different Jordan stuff. I want to diversify. I think this 90s stuff is really cool. The first card I asked about, the very first card, Scoring Kings, unquestionably. Scoring Kings 1, Beam Team 2. Those were the 2 cards I asked about.
Beam Team, yeah.
Things can change over years. Things can change over the next 2 decades. But as of right now, would you agree with me? Those are kind of the 2 cards that the people are going to ask about first if they decide to dip their toes in the water. The Jordan Fleer rookie, again, the Star rookie, but you're not going to get a cheap one. You can actually get a relatively cheap 86 Fleer number 57. And then the Scoring Kings. I think those are the 2 cards that kind of strike at people, along with the Beam Team and Hot Numbers falls into that category as well. So demand was a tough criteria, and it was subjective. Just Brian, that was just me trying to put my finger on the pulse of what people wanted.
Well, and the cool thing is, if you're not chasing PSA 10s, those 3 cards, the inserts of Beam Team, Hot Numbers, and Scoring Kings, they're not expensive to be able to obtain. You get to be able to start and build a really, really strong foundation of a collection and not break your, bust your wallet in any way, shape, or form. And like you said, the 86 Fleer, anything less than a 7, you can get under $5,000. And, I know saying $5,000 is like kind of just like a push off number, but when it comes to the 86 Fleer Jordan, demand is always going to outweigh the supply. There's a ton of 86 Fleer 57 Jordans. We know that. But when it comes to demand for 90s inserts, the higher the grade you get, it will consistently outweigh supply. And with, I'm seeing as a shop owner, we're seeing more and more people coming into this shop on a daily basis. And Fanatics' goal of 10xing the hobby, I can truly tell you that from a firsthand experience, the numbers are growing. The dollars that people are spending per transaction are slowing down because the market needed to kind of hit a new normal, if you will. But I'm not seeing anything slow down when it comes to people coming in. And I have so many people asking me about Jordan cards. So many. It's so much fun because
young people or old people? Young people? People in their 20s? Yeah.
Every generation, Brian. It's my favorite part is like I've got 18-year-old kids that I have to debate LeBron and Jordan all the time, but then I convince them that MJ's the GOAT, and then they're like, okay, well, what cool insert should I buy, or what cool Jordan should I buy? It's fun, man. It's the best part of the hobby is the people, and then the cards come second. Yeah.
Player PCing is a world within a world, especially when it comes to Jordan. And that's why, I've got a video out there, 23 ways to collect Michael Jordan cards. Yeah. There's people out there who only collect Jordan autographs. There's people out there who only collect Jordan 90s. There's people out there who only collect Jordan in a Bulls uniform. There's people out there that only collect the refractors, that only collect the parallels. Maybe they only collect it in PSA. Maybe they love the North Carolina stuff. Maybe they love the patch stuff. There is a million ways to do it, and it hits every single notch on the spectrum of how much it costs. Look, I know you got to go real quick. Let's do some Pacers trivia before I let you go. I promise you, this is not the last time you're coming on the channel. I'm going to get you on this channel again because I want to talk more about your shop and what you're doing and how you don't need to live in Indianapolis, Indiana to buy and interact with Andy and B-Ball Card Exchange. So I want to talk a little bit more about that. But before we leave, I got to put you on the spot in front of all your Indiana people that are going to be watching this. Tens of 20s of people from Indiana are going to watch this video. So let me just give you the trivia. Here's the trivia.
All right.
All-time points per game Indiana Pacers. I've got the top 10 pulled up. I want to see how many of the top 10 points per game, not career total points scored, points per game, Indiana Pacers you can name.
All right. So we'll put Reggie up there. He's in the top 10.
Number 9.
Paul George.
Number 10.
Danny Granger.
No.
What?
Shocked me.
Wow. Okay. All right. Then we'll go back. We'll go back a little bit. We're going to go with George McGinnis.
Number 2.
All right. Roger Brown.
Did not make it.
Okay. Mel Daniels.
Number 3.
Okay. There were some scorers back in the day. That's what I got to figure out. How about Rick Smits?
The Duncan Dutchman did not make it. Reggie was taking all his field goal attempts.
You're kidding me.
Did not make it.
Oh man. All right. So let's keep going. I'm gonna go with this is a tough one. Is a guy like Rick Mount? Is he on there?
Rick Mount didn't make it. There's 2 active players, not so active, but active. Well, one of them is active.
Yeah. Currently,
one of them's on their roster now.
Okay.
One of them starts for him right now.
So it's got to be Halliburton then, or Miles Turner, one of those 2.
Brogdon.
Oh, he's a Celtic. He's a Celtic.
Yeah, he's gone. Sorry, but
he only played. I would have never picked Brogdon because he only
played. Because it was only his prime. That's it. He didn't have the down years to bring his numbers down like Rick Smits did, and Granger. So Brogdon's on there.
I love it.
You're forgetting a '90s big mouth legend Pacer from the '90s.
Oh, Jermaine. That's right, Jermaine O'Neal. Of course.
That's one of them. But another guy, not as good as Jermaine, but actually had a higher points per game. He never met a shot he didn't like. He was chucking threes when he probably shouldn't have been and never met a shot he didn't like.
From the 90s? Chris Mullen?
No, his nickname's the Rifleman.
Oh, Detlef Schrempf.
Chuck Person.
Oh, Chuck Person. I would have never picked Chuck Person. I always forget about Chuck Person.
Listen, guess who's number 1? You're not going to believe this. And again, it was his prime years. And then, of course, the injury, right? The future of your franchise at one point was Victor Oladipo, number 1.
Oh, Oladipo's the number 1 points per game in all time.
Only Pacer to ever average 20 points per game. Now you've got a piece of trivia that you can share with people that come into your store.
Wow.
Name the only Pacer in history to average over 20 points a game for the Indiana Pacers. There's your answer.
That was sad because Oladipo, he was on a trajectory to be kind of another like PG or Reggie Miller type fan favorite because he went to IU. I mean, you forget about how popular it was at IU.
100%.
We all loved Victor Oladipo, and when he
Yeah.
had that thigh injury, man, that was so sad. I hated
It was a devastating injury. It was really bad.
Was.
And good dude all around too. I think
No doubt.
I think he's done though. I think he keeps trying to do it, and it's just his body's not holding up from that
No.
one devastating injury. Yeah, and y'all picked him up for peanuts too. He's all NBA guy. He was all NBA for y'all.
Is my guy George Hill on the top 10 list by any chance?
George Hill did not make it. Some guy that I've never heard of in my life named Billy Knight is on here. He had to be
Billy
ABA.
Knight was a 70s. He was a 70s.
Yeah, he had to be ABA. Clark Kellogg, of course.
That makes sense.
You got to go back a little bit. And then I think you got the rest, man. You did well. Reggie Miller, Paul George, Jermaine O'Neal, and then you named a bunch of guys that I was like, damn, they should be on there. Like I know Mullen was later, but I mean, you figure Mullen would have been on there. You know, Rick Smith for sure. Granger, Detlef Schrempf had put up some numbers, but no, that's it.
That's awesome. I love it. Good stuff, man.
Man, look, thank you for joining us. You're always welcome on the channel. I will get you on again sometime in the next 12 months. I promise you, if there's ever anything I can do for you in the hobby, all you got to do is say the word. I know you got somebody who's looking to show you a collection. If there's any Jordans in there and they're duplicates, I just need you to reach out to me. Okay. I just need you to reach out to me. I'll be your offload, right? Since you're a dealer, you don't need them. Just deal them over to me, and then I'll load you up with some cash.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Like, it's been a pleasure, and I truly have been wanting to talk to you more and get, develop a deeper relationship, not just from a card perspective, but to know you and your family. It's pretty awesome. And, you've got our coach down at LSU, so I wish you guys the best, but I hope you lose 3 games this year. I got to admit.
Well, look, we also have to schedule a soccer conversation coming up because we have tons of stuff that we need to talk about with that. But we won't bother the people that love MJ cards with the soccer conversation. But it's a rare breed of people who love soccer and love 90s basketball. That's not something that usually mixes. So this is interesting.
No, I was a lowly goalkeeper, so I'm sure your kids were actually playing out in the field and being midfielders and forwards. And
they are. So I can't be a goalkeeper's parents. You know what? Kudos to your parents for watching you play goalkeeper. That is an anxious situation. I've watched goalkeeper parents my whole life and just kind of laughed and snickered because it's like an all or nothing deal, right?
It was 100%. And my body's still paying for it 20 years
Well, you're
later.
Tough as shit. That's one thing I know. If you play college soccer and you're a goalkeeper, you're one tough dude. So, look, thanks for joining us, Andy. We'll get you on again. Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.